to look forward to. There's a lot to be hopeful for, even as we're all trying to thrive and triumph through all the adversities that the economy of the country is throwing at us at this time. Schools resumes today. Oh dear Lord, I do not want to even imagine what's going on in the minds of a lot of parents at this time now, trying to ensure that kids get to school, trying to ensure that school fees is paid, all the other support charges are also paid as well. I just want to give a shout out to all parents, everyone, whether you're a biological parent or not, or you're a guardian or whatnot, you're responsible for a ward basically. Just a shout out to you, and hang in there. And at the end of it all, I really, really hope that you would definitely reap what you have sown in the lives of these young ones. Very, very important. And also to all teachers as well, as school resume today, having the responsibility of nurturing our leaders of tomorrow. We wish you all of the best as well. All right, so let's just get into it for this morning on Trends in the Papers. My name is Omobola Sandra. I won't do this alone. Fuad Sahid will join via the phone line to give analysis to the stories that we're going to be treating this morning. But before then, it's our tradition here to bring us up to speed as regards major stories that trended from over the weekend. So let's see what we have here, starting with the Punch newspaper. Insecurity from Abuja to Yobe, to Yobe and other parts of the north, all right, especially in Abuja, all right. And also we have here 2027 Tinubu woos north as loyalists battle opposition. We also have here Ganduje saying no faction in enough APC, says Ganduje. Edo APC governorship candidate woos women with appointments and loans. And then we also have here DSS releases ex-BBC editor Soyinka after hours of detention. Disclose details of Chinese loan. Serap tells Nigerian governors Wike Nigerian cable market growth capable of surpassing current 200 billion naira value. There's quite just a lot to pick from what trended over the weekend. But in all, it's also very important for us to applaud Team Nigeria at the Paralympics 2024. They have done us proud. They have done amazingly well. Special kudos to Onyechi Mark as well, and as every single Nigerian out there who has tried to slug it out and make us proud. The Olympics went by with nothing, but the Paralympics, oh my goodness, Nigeria thrived, and we are super proud for that particular one. So thank you to Team Nigeria at the Paralympics 2024. Let's quickly move on now. Time check is 7:45 a.m. and as we have our papers here, the Punch, the Guardian and Vanguard newspaper in no particular order, as even we bring Fuad Sahid on board. Also a very, very quick one, even as the children are going back to school this morning. I think it's also very, very important. Please let us ensure that they have taken all the supplements and all the antis that they're supposed to take. They are going back to school. It's back to mixing with other children, back to playing, back to so many things. So it's very important that we also pay attention to the health of these kids. Either it's cholera or mpox, just ensure that you pay attention to all of these things, because trust me, with all that is going on now, you do not want to have to find yourself in the hospital for any reason or the other. So very, very important. All right, we have Fuad Sahid on board. Good morning, Fuad.
Yeah, good morning, Sandra. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you very much. How are you doing? How's your weekend?
I'm well, I'm good.
It's all right.
Nice weekend. Quiet weekend, actually.
It's all
right. But a nice one.
Okay, all right, let's just get into it, as there's still so much to talk about as regards the fuel conversation, or as regards the PMS conversation. The major headline on the front page. Hello? Okay, we may have to reconnect with Fuad. I think there's a network glitch somewhere around that. So what we're saying, the major headline on the front page of the Punch newspaper reads, NNPC ties Dangote petrol price to forex rate. NNPC is to begin lifting Dangote petroleum products September 15th. vessels begin offloading as the queues worsen. The queues have not gotten any better. I think it's something that we can all attest to at this time and now. So with the onboarding of Dangote petroleum products, everyone had hoped. In fact, as a matter of fact, some few months ago, the government had sold the idea of the fact that with Dangote coming on board, we were going to have some sort of respite, some sort of relief as regards, the price of petrol in this country. And I'm a little bit, I'm taken aback as regards how Forex, determines Dangote price. I think we had seen this coming, especially with the fact that Dangote had mentioned last week that the FEC, that's Federal Executive Council, was going to determine the price of Dangote petrol. And also last week, there was also the revelation that NNPC was going to be the sole off-taker from Dangote and then, dispense or disburse to the remaining marketers. All right. So let's see what this report has for us. Do we have Fuad back?
Yes, I'm with you, Sandra.
Okay, welcome back. So we're just talking about the major headline on the front page of the Punch newspaper, where it says that NNPC ties Dangote petrol price to Forex rates. Can we start with that particular statement, though, Fuad? One would have thought that, the major reason why we had high cost of petrol in the country was the fact that, we are buying these products from outside the country and we have to pay in dollars, and that's why the cost is that high. And then there's also landing cost and also many other factors that have been tied to why we had been paying subsidy in the past and why the cost of petrol had been high in the past. But now we are hearing that Dangote petroleum products is being tied to Forex rate. Could you please break that down for us?
Well, I think it has been revealed that this idea of selling crude to Dangote in Naira would not necessarily change the outlook in terms of pricing, because basically you will only be paying in Naira, but it will be calculated in dollars. So for example, if crude is to be sold to Dangote in Naira, but for example, if the NNPC will be selling crude to Dangote at maybe $78, for example, or maybe $80. All you would have to do is to multiply that with 1,600 on the average. So yes, you are paying in Naira, but you're using the dollar rate to calculate what you're paying, because the price of crude internationally is calculated in dollars. So while we are hoping that there's going to be availability of the product, now that Dangote has PMS to sell, it might not necessarily mean it's going to be affordable if we're going to be using the dollar indices, which is the factor that NNPC is mentioning here. If you understand what I'm saying now. But again, there's always the conversation. Remember, I think it was a year or two ago that Lɪධᴇ had told us that, look, even if you have local refinery, the price of the product will still not change. It's just going to be a marginal difference. You remember? At that time we had said that, look, apart from the fact that that statement sounded a bit insensitive and irresponsible, it was also a way to quietly downplay the need for us to have functional refineries in Nigeria. Sandra, look, all of these things that the NNPCL is saying, you know why Nigerians are a bit apprehensive and are suspicious of the entire move now that Dangote has PMS? Look, Dangote had been refining diesel. It's not just A1. We didn't have all of this back and forth, right? He did his thing, he was selling his thing the way he wanted to sell it. The ones that were supposed to come into the local market did without any noise, without any back and forth. Why PMS to start with? Then why is it that the point where Dangote's PMS was going to be ready, suddenly we had an artificial crash from the NNPCL? We started having all these back and forth as to we are owing, we cannot import again. The scarcity became so strong to the point where Nigerians were now forced to start to buy at the black market and at higher prices, only for price adjustments to come. So people are saying, look, the timing itself is suspicious. Why is this coming just a day or two to when Dangote was going to bring out his PMS? The timing is the reason why Nigerians are suspicious. And I'm not even trusting the NNPC. Yes, I'm with you.
I need to just, pull something out very, very quickly. I sincerely apologize. The headline I read earlier on wasn't for today's Punch newspaper. The headline for today's Punch newspaper, 9th of September 2024, reads, Marketers plan petrol imports as NNPCL and Dangote's talks drag? Just, quickly, as you were saying something. Yes, it's still all linked. Just because you were just saying something now as regards the fact that, why we have that scarcity now and what we're to expect from why NNPC was mum over the Jet A1, over diesel, and here we are now. It's petrol, something that's supposed to be for the masses, because it's not everybody that would travel.
But it's everybody.
Exactly, it's not everybody that travel, or it's not everybody that uses heavy duty, vehicles for diesel. Exactly. So now that we have this scarcity now, and then we have Dangote Petroleum coming on board, and then we also have on one hand NNPCL saying, hey, wait to see, Forex is still going to determine all of these things that or pricing of PMS. But taking the report from the major headline on the front page of the Punch, where it says here that marketers are planning to still import petrol because the talks between NNPC and Dangote is getting too long. Lifting, is it going to be or is it not going to be? Ipman laments as NNPC delays supply at depots. Has for us this morning, it's on page 2 of the Punch news, will only fully offtake from Dangote if market prices of the commodity were higher than the pump prices in Nigeria. Wait, let's take that back again. Let's see what we have here. The oil marketers have said they would, import petrol following the declaration by NNPC that it would only fully offtake product from NNPC if other domestic refineries were free to sell directly to any marketer on a willing buyer, willing seller basis, adding that it had no desire or intention to become the distributor for an entity in a free market environment. So is NNPC still the for the oil marketers? Now they can go.
When you operate with this used to lie, I'll tell you now, this whole conversation, it was the same narrative we got. And what they did, to deceive Nigerians into believing that in this they said, oh, they are not going to regulate anything again. It was going to be a market forces determining the price of PMS, blah, blah, blah. And then, people were saying, yes. I remember when we questioned some of these things, asking critical questions, there were people who came up and said, yes, now that people have licenses, they can go anywhere in the world to bring in products. And then when we have availability of products, there's going to be competition. And then before you know it, prices start to adjust downwards, blah, blah. Only for us to discover that at the end of the day, these licenses were issued. And none of the licensees, the owners of these licenses, could access Forex to be able to bring in any product. So what was supposed to be a deregulated sector eventually ended up being a monopoly for the NNPCL, which was the only player that could access Forex to bring in the product, standard. So the issuance of licenses really amounted to nothing, because these guys just have the license. There was no way they could have been able to access Forex in the black market. Because we are talking about the twin policy of removing subsidy and floating the naira the way we did. We didn't peg anything. So all of the license owners just said, no, we have the license, but it's bad business. You can't go into the black market to get Forex to now bring in product. How much are we going to sell it? So the NNPCL now became the sole importer. And maybe 2-3 months after, they discovered that the Forex crisis was going to make it impossible for them to sell the product to Nigerians at the rate they were selling, which was around 400 to 500 naira per liter. So the conversation around the weighted average rate came in, which was the approval they got from the president to now ask the dollar rate by which they were importing petroleum products into the country. And so subsidy was returned immediately, just 2-3 months after that policy was announced. So again, what we are saying is that, look, we are not being truthful to ourselves. We've been asking for real conversation, truthfulness, openness, accountability. Let's know the real issue. What's going on? Stop denying the reality of things. The fact on ground are showing that you guys have been intervening in the form of subsidy and all of that. Let's know what the issues are. Up till today, Sandra, is it not funny that a Dangote manufacturer of a manufacturer who has been in the business, for decades, has suddenly come up with a product that he cannot even announce his own price? Is it not funny? Look, every manufacturer is always happy to come up with a new product and eat the market immediately. No manufacturer wants to produce something and keep it in the shelf for too long. Now that the long-awaited PMS has arrived from Dangote refinery, pricing has become a problem. Because the NNPCL, and we say it again, deliberately caused this scarcity to push up the price of PMS as a form of coup d'etat for Dangote. or to send the template for Dangote and say, no, you are not going to sell below this price. To justify the shenanigans that have been going on, the corruption that has been going on. So cause the scarcity, Dangote should release his PMS when prices have already gone up. As we speak officially, the NNPCL has not agreed that they've hiked the price of PMS. All of them does not know. They don't know what's going on. So it's a deliberate ploy to hoodwink, to twist Dangote not to even try to sell below whatever price that the NNPCL was trying to project. And that's why suddenly they came into the picture. It has to be only us. It's going to be financial monopoly. But when the noise was too much, they now have it. Now what they know that look, nobody is going to be able to go and buy at the price they set for Dangote. They deliberately caused the artificial scarcity. Sandra, it was deliberate to put us in this mess so that we'll start this conversation about what is the cost price or not.
Well, whether or not
an organization that cannot even tell Nigerians our daily consumption. They lie about simple things as to what our daily consumption is. Well, they are not moved on because it's feeding our lives negatively.
Yeah, but the conversation has totally moved on from that on to now, what exactly is the issue with the subsidy conversation and where are we going with this, Dangote or no Dangote? As it is now, the oil marketers have stated that they would only source for the product wherever they found it cheaper. So whether, NNPC is the one that is selling on behalf of Dangote or whether or not Dangote is willing to sell directly to the marketers have declared that anywhere it is cheaper, even if it is through importation, they will go for it.
And they will not be able to import any. Forest is going to kill them. They know. If they've not been able to import in the last 1 year plus, it's not now that they will have the capacity to import because forest conversation is going to come. Where are you going to get the forest from? So the best bet for them is to look for the product locally, which is the Dangote refinery. But they don't have any price to work with. That's what the marketers are saying. You understand? So at the end of the day, they will be at the mercy of the NNPCL, which is still going to continue to import the product, and then have with some sort of collaboration with the Dangote refinery in terms of pricing. So that, you don't come in to spoil our business. We've been selling at this price, this is the protected thing. We've been telling people we are subsidizing. So work with our own template. That's what they are telling Dangote. I say, unless the NNPCL comes with other facts, I will say that, look, what they've done is to corner the Dangote refinery to work with their own pricing template that has been justifying the corruption they've been doing. How they've been stealing from Nigeria. Because they deliberately caused this scarcity. Why did they first deny they were owing people? Only to suddenly turn around to agree that they are owing their suppliers. So is that an organization to trust, Sandra? And everything goes back to the president. He needs to clean and sanitize that sector. He is the Minister of Petroleum, and he needs to do what he needs to do. The rot in the system is such that the president has to step in to now clean up that sector. If he doesn't do that, the president is still on his desk.
I remember sometime earlier this year when Dangote declared that Nigeria would no longer import fuel the moment his refinery commenced production. But then, as it is now, Nigeria being the largest oil producer in Africa, it's very unfortunate that we're still depending on imported petroleum products, due to low refining capacity. And now we have...
I told you now, Sandra, that for energy security, you have to continue to import.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't understand?
I remember.
So what they are doing is that if we are no longer importing, if we start to produce locally, we still have to do it in a way that will tell people we are still subsidizing and work with our own price template. You can't just come into the market and begin to sell at your own price. You have to look at what we are doing, and whatever you do should justify the shenanigans going on with our own operations. That's what they've done.
Mr. Olufemi Shone, the spokesperson or spokesman for NNPC, sometime over the weekend mentioned that they would not buy Dangote PMS unless it is cheaper than that of the international market. That's NNPC now.
So you look at the errors. So what they are simply telling you is that look, if the one we are bringing in is quality or low quality, like let your own be as pure as water. That's your problem. If it is too expensive than the ones we are importing, continue to import. I'm saying that these guys have put us in a web of confusion deliberately.
All right. Well,
and it's only leadership that can save us. Committed leadership to solving the problem. That's what can save us. We are trapped.
National Publicity Secretary of IPMAN, Ukadike Chinedu, said, and I quote, "From what is happening now, it means that the Petroleum Industry Act is being implemented. The removal of subsidies has come to stay, and the price of petrol is to be determined by the economics of demand and supply." Now that NNPC has said they are not the sole off-taker of Dangote petrol, it then means that the price of the product will determine where we are going to buy it. If NNPC imports the product and its price is cheaper than Dangote, we will buy from NNPC. If Dangote's price is cheaper than NNPC, we will buy from Dangote. So right now, competition will set in. Remember that diesel price rose as high as 1,600 per litre, and Dangote came in with his own 1,200, and the importers reduced theirs to 1,100, and it further dropped to 950, and now it's rovering between 950 and 1,100 for both imported and locally produced. By the time competition sets in, the product will sell cheaper. And that's the optimism that the IPMAN is displaying as regards where the competition that is coming up between NNPC and Dangote. So it's just like a face-off. So we'll see how it turns out. And the big question still remains why NNPC has refused to just pay attention to its own refineries, fix its own refineries, and then let's see an ultimate face-off between the NNPC and Dangote as regards the pricing of petrol.
Well, again, that's one conversation that we'll continue to have. Hopefully, we're going to see this refineries work. It's going to be a miraculous thing for us to live to witness. The revival of these 4 refineries. It's been almost over 2 decades of conversation on how to get these refineries right. And that's why people are worried that instead of this NNPC to focus on reviving its own refineries. There's so much about Dangote refinery to the extent where it's either they look at what Dangote is doing and continue to justify the idea of importation, rather than spending so much energy, to fix their own refineries. Fᴜᴜ SAN has said it's going to take the contractors to court because monies have been paid. I think the last money we released was about $1.5 billion to turn around this refinery, and that's not the only money we've released in the past. To turn these things around, we spend billions of dollars.
There's
money that would have built us new refineries,
isn't there? Yeah.
Look, Sandra, the money we've committed into these 4 refineries would have built us at least 4 brand new refineries from the scratch. In the over 20 years I've been putting money into these refineries, what money would have at least built us 2 or 3 solid refineries? But people understand what is going on. There are people who are chopping from this, and they want the status quo to remain.
Well, in addendum to that particular story, there's also here, in the Punch newspaper, the Dangote refinery may resort to exporting its petrol following the refusal of NNPC to be the sole buyer of its product.
Let me ask you a question, Sandra. Why is Dangote forcing NNPC to be the one to buy its product?
So loved it.
There are marketers who are telling me, we are waiting for you to tell us your price to come and buy from you. But why is he also at this point now forcing the NNPCL to be the only one to buy his product? Sure, you understand the web of confusion, what the case does. Get them confused, mess up with their brain, run down their thinking capacity to understand what is going on. A very simple sector, like Chief Abiola said, the late Abiola said. A very simple sector that is supposed to be so open and transparent and be for the benefit of other people. They're so compounded.
All right. Thank you for
with so much layers and layers of confusion. And it's deliberate, Sandra. If you check and check, you know why I'm saying it's deliberate. Get them confused.
Thank you very much. It's 7 minutes past 8, and you're listening to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. I also have here on the front page of the Punch, just very quickly, over 1,000 soldiers resigned from army in the past 4 years, and that's coming from a report that's on page 40 of the Punch newspaper. I think yesterday it was part of the conversation on Political Roundtable as regards the welfare and the remuneration,
the morale, the motivation,
for our soldiers. And what we have is that no fewer than 1,008 soldiers have resigned from the Nigerian Army in the last 4 years, and the figure is reports from 2020 to 2024, and the According to reports, in 2023 alone, the Nigerian army approved the retirement of no fewer than 59 soldiers. And Fuad, it's alarming if you look at it from one angle. The fact that we have this huge, problem of insecurity, and we're having the resources to fight it is reducing by the day. That's the human resources to fight it is from retirement to resignation.
Yeah,
the Nigeria as well.
The military authorities have also put out a statement denying that this resignation as a result of lack of motivation and what have you, or the fact that the morale of our soldiers are low. That's why they are turning in their resignation. What they said is that no, soldiers have the right to resign and turning their resignation when they feel they want to leave the service. I think the recent one is about 196 that will be proceeding on a retirement process, or resignation process. From November the 4th, and then by the 30th of November they will be giving the service. But look, the military authorities can say, oh, there's nothing wrong with motivation, the morale of our soldiers are high, but the reality shows a different story. Sandra, I had a conversation with top military officers, and one of them just returned from the northwest, operation to the northwest to the south, and he said that look, he's telling me that the soldiers are not really happy. Okay, let's even start with how much are we paying our soldiers? Let's even talk about payment. Because again, there are people that will tell you it's not just about money, but at least money, whether you like it or not, is a source of motivation. We're not paying them enough. If you look at the risks, the battles, what they have to go through to defend the country, you can't tell me that you are paying them enough. And look, the guy told me that look, the problem with this insecurity is that look, there are questions about the community hierarchy as to what is happening with the budget that goes into the military. They need to come open and clear to really tell us what, because billions of naira goes into the military every year. And the ordinary soldiers are asking questions in terms of equipment, in terms of protection, in terms of remuneration, allowances. We need to do, the reality that we have to accept that we're not doing enough for our soldiers. And so we have to look at that aspect of remuneration, encouragement, motivation, because this is a war that we are not going to win anytime soon. If you look at the reality on ground in the north, and the only way to continue to fight and keep our soldiers at high morale is to pay them well.
All right, thank you.
Give them all the necessary equipment to fight this project.
Thank you very much. For add more details on page 40. Moving on very quickly, we also have here articles 8, Labour Party, NNPP differ on merger plans, whether or not it will be or not to be. The stories on page 42 of the Punch newspaper. If that's ever going to be possible, you can get more details there. As regards major opposition parties deny being approached by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar or any of his loyalists regarding a rumored merger that has been making headlines since last week.
NNPP and PDP, those are even insulting themselves. You know, just I think over the weekend or last week, 𝐴̀ᴏᴜᴜ, so the NNPP man has said that look, the PDP is dead and there's no possibility of any merger. That was what he said. He was somewhere in Katsina State to unveil one of the NNPP secretariats or so. And he made that statement that the PDP is dead and there was no merger talk because he believes he was going to run in 2027 on the NNPP platform and win. But the PDP has replied in today in the papers, where the secretary, the public secretary of the party has told him that you are a failed politician. So people that want to merge are started insulting themselves.
Well, the story is on page 42 of the Punch newspaper. Moving on now, just above the masthead of the Punch, we also have here strike. ASUU and government panel are to meet on Wednesday, and that's on page 8 of the Punch newspaper, whether to be or not to be. We also have here 4 billion naira illegal arms, 10 charged with terrorism, and that's also on page 8. Finally, off the front page of the Punch newspaper, group sues Lagos over $100 million Dangote land deal, and that's on page 6 of the Punch newspaper. So very quickly, the Lagos state government has been dragged before the Federal High Court, sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos, to be compelled to release true or false. Sometime in July, Dangote said they did not receive any incentives from the federal government or Lagos State for the construction of the refinery at the Lekki Free Trade Zone, and it made this particular disclosure in front of several House of Reps members, including the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, in person of Tajudeen Abbas and Benjamin Kalu, respectively. And he said, and I quote, "In the refinery, we did not, and I repeat, we did not collect one single incentive from the federal government of Nigeria or even Lagos State. Yes, the Lagos State gave us a good deal, but we paid $100 million for the land. It wasn't a free land. We paid for it." Now, according to indigents, if the claim is true, Lagos is required to give a detailed account as to how such a huge amount of money was collected in exchange for the poor Ibejuleki people's land, and why there was no public statement to the effect, and then to state which account the money was paid to and what it was used for. It's a long read, though. Fuad, as a Lagosian yourself, are you invested in this particular conversation?
100%, Sandra. 100%. And it's not just about Lagosians now. We're talking about accountability here. We're talking about judicial use of public funds. You know, again, things will eventually be revealed. That's just the reality of life. No matter how you try to hide things, there's always going to be a day of reckoning. These things are, look, I always say there will be a day that we're going to have to count the cost. The leaders of today will not be there forever. This will one day change. Sandra, and people will have to answer questions as to what they are doing with the resources of the people. There will be a day. Let them take note that there will be a day. When the day will come, it's all we don't know. But that there will never be a day. Never. A day is coming that the people will ask questions. There will be new set of leaders who are going to hold the present leaders to account as to what they are doing with public funds. Alhaji Aliko Dangote said it. They paid $100 million for that land. And go and ask the landowners in the Bejuleki if they got anything. Or what did they really get?
Yes, all right.
And Alhaji Aliko Dangote cannot be so flat-footed to just make a statement without fact. And the question is, did the Lagos State government really receive that money? $100 million. Don't be play money, Sandra. The $100 million, where was the money paid to? Why is it that until Alhaji Aliko Dangote made that statement, we never heard that the $100 million was paid to the Lagos State government?
These are the questions, that the group, is trying to bring out as
regards indigents. I'm also an indigent, Sandra. I don't think anybody can question my legal heritage. Never. But some of them who lead us today don't even have, are not as connected locally to the source as some of us. Look, Sandra, what we are saying is that, look, we have to know who collected the $100 million. What did we do with the $100 million? Accountability.
Right.
If they don't answer us today, they will answer tomorrow. Sandra. Note what I've told you. If they don't answer today, they will answer tomorrow. And it's not just $100 million. Several other money too.
It's okay.
You don't know.
It's okay. Thank you very much, because in Ogun State we are still trying to pay off some.
If you go around, you should go around. So I mean, I'm talking about Lagos.
Olukaluko with his own.
With his own problem. One man with his own case.
Exactly. The stories on page 6 of the Punch newspaper. This is Mainland 98.3 FM. It's trends in the papers. It's 17 minutes past 8. We're moving very quickly now on to the Guardian newspaper. Back to school. Parents groan as fees and fares spike by over 70% amid dropout concerns. People are leaving school at this time now. Parents, there are some children that are sitting back at home as we speak due to the fact that parents are struggling or have struggled to make payments of school fees. And there are some schools that we need to also give kudos to. I think one or two schools that I've heard have given payment plan payment plan proposals to parents, all right, that okay, you don't have the money to pay now, you can pay it this way, you can break it in this one way or the other. You're trying to ensure that the students stay in school. But as schools resume for the 2024-2025 academic session, the reports are coming in now that rising inflation, economic challenges, most parents and guardians are grappling with the added burden of schools' decision to even raise raise tuition fees, transport costs, and other sundry expenses, especially school. There's a school that is beside us here that they don't have fan, they don't have window. It's AC all through. All the whole building is AC. So for that school now, and they are on band A because now Anthony is on band A. So for such a school, of course, you expect that, oh, see, this is what we have to deal with, and this is what you have to help us to endure at this time now. So for back to school conversation, and we also have parents that have recently lost their jobs. We have parents that have recently had to close down their businesses.
Parents who still lose their jobs,
and there are still parents who still lose that. It's a very unfortunate situation, and that's why we say that this fuel thing. People say, "Oh, you don't drive, so it doesn't affect you," and I'm like, "Yeah, how much you?"
As it is, Sandra, if you read the report very well, I think Edo State and Kano State have
postponed resumption indefinitely. Yes,
because there's crisis in the people and I can tell you that even in Lagos, if you go check the mood, the atmosphere, I'm sure that a lot of students will not resume school today.
A lot.
Because there are some schools that you are coming in, you bring the receipt.
Yes.
Or you must have paid all your payments, so you are coming with your payment receipt. Sorry. If you don't, so but for schools who, I think we have to thank some school owners, like you have said, some of them have decided to come up with a payment plan, to say, okay, look, you can just pay maybe 15-20% and then spread the rest. So it's not like the old thing of you have to pay everything before you bring in your children. So we have to thank, and some of them have gotten creative too. Because look, if you don't go creative, look at the stage of things and come up with something that will make it easy for these parents to pay, probably will lose some children. Some of them want to retain their children. You understand? So that's why everybody is looking at how to help. The parents, the school owners, everybody's working around it. But it's going to be very, very difficult for a lot of people. As we speak, Sandra, a lot of parents are under serious pressure. School buses, the fee you have to pay for school bus has doubled in most schools.
Doubled? There's a school in Ogudu. I wouldn't want to mention the name of the school. There's a school in Ogudu that increased the school fees from 380,000 naira to 570,000 naira.
You're not going to blame them. Look at the fact. Why did they move from 580 something to almost 1,000 naira per litre? In fact, do you know what? Look, I told you my own experience. The owner of my own, the school of my children, said, look, this is the school bus. Parents, go and run the bus yourself. That's what they told us. That, look, you know what? We'll donate our school bus to you parents at the PTA level. So decide how you want to run it. Buy fuel, employ a driver, maintain it. As a school, we are no longer interested. Because I'm sure what they are thinking is that, look, how much are they going to bill us now? Some parents are going to complain. So instead of you complaining about our bill, this is the boss. So employ a driver, fuel it, maintain it, and do it the way you get the children. And that's what we are dealing with now.
Well, as we all know, it's a normal thing. I think it's actually a normal thing that every session, at the beginning of a new session, it's a norm for private schools to adjust their fees at the beginning of every session. But this current increase is majorly due to the economic situation that's occasioned by rising inflation and increase in petrol prices. For that these schools, they also have to stock up the classrooms with materials. All right, they also have to stock up the classrooms with books and all, and then you also have some schools,
their teachers more too.
They also have to pay their teachers because the teachers have to be available to teach the students. And then you also have in some schools where they provide lunch as well. There are some schools that also provide lunch for the students. Those are the things that we need to put into consideration.
And the ones that run boarding services, or boarding house and all of that. Boarding
services as well. That's another situation.
Tough, really.
There's some schools that have also gotten information that they used to have. Let's say, for example, primary 5 has like 5 arms. They've reduced it to 2 arms, right? So you just have primary 5, 2 primary 5 classes, 3 primary 3 classes, rather than having that large number of classes where you have so many students in the school. So many people, just as you have mentioned, trying to come up with creative ways to also stay afloat and still provide quality education for our children. But the parents are going through it right now a lot. The parents are going through it. But kudos to Edo and Kano for trying to use some sort of discretion, postponing resumption indefinitely. But then, well,
I don't know how they want to intervene really, because
get into the big talk on Wednesday. I also wanted to talk about, homeschooling or virtual learning, which was prevalent during the lockdown season. I say lockdown season, the lockdown, time.
But virtual learning comes with its own cost too, Sandra. Because you have to buy data. Because again, virtual learning means you have to be online. But that's the virtual learning you're talking about here.
Yes, but
have to be available.
It's an option as well. I mean, just looking at yes.
How affordable will that be? That's what we're saying. What cost are you going to reduce if you have to buy data? God knows how much.
You don't have to transport themselves to work. But you don't have to take yourself.
I know people have still questioned this idea of virtual learning. Because learning is not really about the lectures and what of that. The activities that the children have to also partake in. In school is also very important. There's some moral lessons, every other thing that children would have to also get themselves involved with in school. But again, these are things that the government needs to pay attention to. This extreme capitalist idea that we've introduced to think that the government has to answer everything, the market forces. Look, we are talking about a country faced with multi-dimensional poverty, where more than 150 million Nigerians are living below the poverty line.
All right.
So a government must look at its policy with that reality.
Right.
This is not the UK or the US. We are talking about a country in serious poverty, where more than half of your citizens are living below the poverty line.
Thank you very much. We have very few minutes left to go. This really interesting story that went sort of viral over the weekend. With less than 2 months to go in office, Tʀᴇɪᴅs appoints over 300 SSAs and SAs. Even with this economic hardship, people are talking about cost of governance. People are talking about profligacy in the government, and here we are, an outgoing governor is appointing over 300. Well, I mean, it's still less than 1,000.
An outgoing that wants to remain in office. It's on the ballot.
Yes.
Contesting to be elected. The reports we are getting in those states are, look, the man has become quote unquote some form of Father Christmas. He has opened up the treasury.
Some 2 months ago or so, he also made some appointments. So what?
And his desperation now, look, they say contractors are having a field day those states as we speak. Everybody is there making good money. That's what we are saying, allegedly. That because the man is desperate, he's become an ice cream seller, quote unquote. He wants to make everybody happy.
Giver. Oh, that's so good.
It's just nice. So if you are appointing over 300 people at this time, you should understand that it's just all political. There's no value to it.
If such a person actually does become governor, isn't he going to recoup all this gifts?
Well, there was a minister of the SC has told you that politics is business in Nigeria. We invest to make profit.
It's okay.
So maybe this is his own form of investment. They told you now, Sandra. We told you that it's business.
Tʀᴇɪᴅs has invested in over 344. He has made over 344 investments now.
But the trouble with this kind of investment is that, look, they don't use their personal money. They use state funds. The same thing Wiki was talking about. All of the I buy form, I bought this for everybody, I have demand to become governor. Whatever with his own personal money.
All right. Well,
the state money was used for that investment.
We'll also have here on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, NAFDAC warns against miracle products of faith-based organization. Why?
I saw that story.
Why?
Is that a miracle product? It's ritual. I don't know why NAFDAC is involving themselves in this one.
People ingest, you will ingest it one way or the other. It's food and drug.
The man said it's a spiritual water. He didn't tell you that
it falls within the purview of NAFDAC because you are going to
invest spiritual water, to check spiritual water. Sandra.
Is the water physical or not?
It's physical but it's spiritual.
What are you saying?
So now that has facility to check whether the spirit is working in the water or not.
No. Is the water physical or can you see the water?
It's a physical water but with spiritual
properties.
Power.
It's okay. Is that
unless that shows you that there's a laboratory to check whether the spirit is working or not. Won't be working. Why would not that get themselves involved?
Fuad, the stories of page 29 of the Guardian newspaper. NAFDAC has warned people as regards is
not to buy spiritual water.
No, just we warned. We have just put our
That's
warning.
what precisely. That's what.
Reverse petrol pump price, Serap and APC chief tells Tinubu. That's on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper. Nigerians are not enjoying benefits of more allocations to states. That's also another conversation. That's on page 30.
More money to government does not mean better living for the people.
Exactly.
Giving more bigger opportunities for people to steal money. That's simple as that.
We're not
that's the structure of the country.
at all. All right, as we wrap things up on trends in the papers for this morning, we'll move on to Vanguard newspaper. And the major headline on the front page of Vanguard reads, petrol price hike, Nigerians at breaking point, NLC and Atiku warn. And we have riders here that says NLC insists on reversal, urges citizens to revolt against hike. VAT, fuel price hikes will worsen Nigeria's cost of living crisis, says Atiku. Complete refineries by September or sue contractors, Falana tells federal government. As Serap calls for reversal of unlawful fuel price hike. Well, contractors to go by. So, if it's the contractors or if it's whoever it is that is responsible for the delay in our refineries, being active, that's whoever it is that is being. That's what Falana is saying. Hold them responsible. And then, although the VAT conversation, there's reports coming in that VAT would remain at 7.5%. Because there had been talks that they were going to increase it from 7.5 to 10%. All right, but reports are coming in that it's going to stay at that. But still, on this fuel price hike, that's where the conversation is hinged on, and the story is on page 5 of Vanguard newspaper. We also have here on the front page of Vanguard, Japa. Canada's student enrollment drops 45% after new study visa cap. So the new cap came in sometime some 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so ago, where
conditions,
yes, Canada is saying that there will no longer be work permits immediately after you finish school, and so you have to go reapply. It's just a very long and tedious process.
And they are also complaining now. Their own schools are now complaining, but it's a drop in application.
Yes,
and they are saying that look, their own people have to look at this again, because whether you like it or not, they need the workforce.
They make
and they make a lot of money.
They make their money from international students. They make their money
so
from
they have to create that balance.
Yes. Exactly. Well, this unfortunate story also here on the front page of Vanguard. 100 feared dead in tanker explosion in Niger State. 50 cows burned. Happened in Niger State. The picture is also on the front page of the Punch newspaper.
Very sad, Osandra. Very, very sad.
People lost their lives, and those cows, I don't know. Can they still be consumed?
48 of them so far, but the
cows are 50.
Right beyond that. Yeah, 50 cows are 48 human beings.
48 human beings, yes. So far, that's what we have.
And tanker, a truck carrying cows. Most of the trucks carrying the cows also have human beings in them.
Yes.
They transport them along with the cows. So what the report is saying is that, look, there was an head-on collision. So again, some of the drivers travel overnight. Maybe one of them has slept.
Exhausted.
Again, if you look at the condition, exhausted and tired, a little dose of food could lead to these kinds of things. People have also talked about the idea of moving TMS in tankers. This was something that started when our rail track.
The rail option was supposed to have been in use.
With transportation of, or even the pipelines too. There are some countries that what they do with their product is to use the pipeline, so you don't see vehicles on the road.
What?
Yeah, we've damaged everything.
Thank you. It's all right. They've damaged it. It's very unfortunate.
We need to look at that again.
All right. Well, we'll take a short break now. We'll take a commercial break now. When we come back, we'll move on to Mainland Focus. We'll see some messages we have on Facebook. We'll see thank you to everyone who was with us also on Facebook. But stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back by 8:40 for Mainland Focus. And that's the part where you get to be a part of the show by sharing your concerns, your analysis, and your submission as regards the focus for the day. This is Mainland 98.3 FM. Please stay tuned.
Open defecation.